Hello, my name is Rex Wynn. I'm an Iron Speed Designer MVP, and today I'm going to demonstrate generating an application deployment installer from Iron Speed Designer Enterprise Edition version 4.2.1. What I've got here is an application that I've assembled using the Southwind database that's included as a sample application database with your Iron Speed installation. I haven't done anything special to this application other than run the application wizard, generate the pages, and create add, insert, edit pages for each of the tables in the Southwind database. Now, this isn't a production application, but let's just say that this was a production application and I was ready to deploy it to my production application server. What are some strategies and philosophies that are going to allow us to get our application out there? Well, first off, what we could do if we only had Professional Edition is we could go ahead and pre-compile our application into compiled ASPX web pages, and then we could FTP copy out those applications into our web applications root folder, and then we could manually install our database tables and our stored procedures. With IronSpeed Designer Enterprise Edition, we can go ahead and accelerate this application deployment process using some built-in tools that are bundled into IronSpeed that really simplify this whole notion of deploying an application and take some of the ambiguity out of it, as well as taking away some of the opportunities we have to make mistakes when we're deploying our applications by hand. The menu that we're going to talk about today is the build menu, or excuse me, the deploy menu. In the deploy menu, you can see I have this option of generating a deployment installer. Right here, it's preset to where I have previously deployed application installers, and it's setting this up for me with the video demo underscore deploy option at the end. Usually what I do is I come up with a Roman numeral way for versioning my installers, where this is the very first one. I'm going to use an X and then an I to indicate that this is my first deployment installer for the video demo. I do want to generate an deployment installer, but this isn't required. If I leave this option unchecked, IronSpeed is just going to compile my application into ASPX pages that can then be deployed out by FTP to an IIS web server. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to generate a deployment installer. And so here we have the product name, which is Video Demo. We'll call it version 1.0.0. The company name, we will call it a demo company. And the product description, this is a sample deployment installer. The trademark, copyright, we'll leave that the way it is. And for trademark, we'll just type in trademark. And when we say OK, IronSpeed is going to take over, and it's going to begin to compile all of our ASPX pages, and then it's going to compress them into a Microsoft Windows application installer. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK here, and this process can tend to take from 5 seconds to 5 minutes, depending on how big and complex the application is. So while it's building, I'm just going to pause the recording, and then I'll come back and join you when the build is completed. Okay, we're done doing our build, and here we can see some information that has just been output to us in this build window. We can see that the deployment project was created, we can see where it was created, and we can see just the path. This is just some output information for us so that we know where that file is at. So I'm going to click close, and this is just going to return back to our application installer window. Now here what we have is IronSpeed has generated a video demo solution for us, and in here it's generated our video setup project. This is the file that we would need to copy up to our web server, and this will handle installing our application's ASPX files and our stored procedures, and it will handle configuring the web.config to match the configuration of the web server that we're running on. If we were interested in just doing an FTP upload of our application files, we can go into this deploy directory inside the release directory, and here is where we will find all of the files necessary to run our IronSpeed application. And if we chose to, we can simply FTP these up to our IIS web server's application root directory. And these are fully compiled ASPX pages. You'll notice that the ASPX.cs pages are gone. That code has been compiled into these pages. We have some HTML and XML helper pages in here. And this is our protected code generated ASPX application. It's ready to go. We can just FTP this directly up to our server. And that is all that's involved in generating an ASPX application This is all that's involved in generating an MSI installer for an IronSpeed application project. All we need is this file, and we have somebody with administrator privileges run this MSI for us on our web server, and it will install and configure our application for us.